In this episode, we're in Louisiana with a hunter who'd been getting trail camera pictures of a buck that just didn't look that big. But when this Palmetto giant finally stepped out in person, the photos hadn't done it justice, and Holt Martin knew that there was no way he could let this one walk. This is one that you don't want to miss. This is Antlers and Hicks. Well, folks, today we got you a good one that is when you think of Louisiana bucks, this deer has the characteristics of a good old swamp Louisiana deer. Some palmation that is unbelievable. Beautiful palmation, and usually when you get palmation, you get, relatively short tines. These tines aren't short, they're pretty good size, so this deer should score well. Come out of Lake Providence, Louisiana, East Carroll Parish. So like we always do, we're going to count the points. Right now I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're going to say 13, 14 scoreable points. What do you think this deer is going to score? Got a good spread, good tine length, and we already talked about the mass measurements. Which one of these 4 scores do you think is going to match what this deer is right here? Like your score in, put it in the comments, and we're going to get started. But first, while I'm making my marks, I want y'all to listen to Holt tell his story.
Hey guys, I'm Holt Martin from Lake Providence, Louisiana, East Carroll Parish. I was fortunate enough to be able to get behind this big joker here. Got a few years of history with him, 2 years to be exact that I know of. And to be honest, he blew up into something I'd never imagined I'd see, especially behind the levee in Louisiana. Last year, he was probably a high 120s, maybe low 130s, heavy 10 point. Was kind of showing a little bit of palmation, but not near about this much. And as a matter of fact, I really didn't know what deer this was whenever he showed up on trail camera until maybe a week ago. I killed him yesterday or 2 days ago. And the trail cam, this is a typical case of trail cameras lying to you big time, because I had never imagined this deer was this big. I was actually, my little brother had been texting me seeing the trail cam pictures of it and wanted to go kill it. And I said, well, let me go see it in person first before I make the call, because there were some mixed match trail cam pictures where we couldn't decide how old he was, how big he was. And whenever he stepped out, there was no doubt that it was probably going to be the biggest deer I'll ever kill, for sure in Louisiana, and possibly anywhere else. I mean, this is a heck of a deer. I killed him on October 21st, shot him about 6:10 in the evening, so pretty early for this time of year. It came out with 6 or 7 bucks, 2 nubbins, 2 6 points, and 7.8 point, and he was the last one in the line. So running a little bachelor group, and the wind had kind of been swirling a little bit on me. Wasn't the best wind, I knew that going into it. And he came right to the base of my tree, was basically licking the climbing sticks I had on the tree, and turned to kind of go scare off some of these other bucks, and gave me a quartering away shot, a pretty hard quartering away shot, and I made a good shot, and the rest was history. He didn't go 80 yards probably, bled good for most of the time, and I didn't know what to think whenever I walked up on him. First person I called was my dad, and I said, I just shot the biggest buck I've ever shot in my life and probably will ever shoot. And he said, oh, really? Must be a new one. And I said, no. I said, is that Palmetto 10 point? And he said, well, why'd you shoot him? And I said, I'm telling you, those trail cameras have lied to us. He's a monster. So, like I said, truly grateful to be behind him, and just feel lucky today. So that's it.
Hi, folks. Now, that's a great story. I got to tell you, when he showed me the trail camera picture that he was talking about, I was the same way. I was like, that, it looks like a younger, smaller, tight rack buck. But when you look at him, whoo, he's anything but. So I'm going to start on the right-hand side. I always start on the right-hand side, the lowest pedicle. And then you're going to 45 it and go to the backside and follow up that backside of that rack real pretty. You're going to go real slow. A lot of real estate, and this dude right here has got some unbelievable palmation. He's going to make some great circumference measurements. I can't wait to see how big they actually are. Hope does a drone recovery service. So you need to look him up in case you make a shot and you need some help. That man right there can help you out. He and I going to talk drone recovery and drone stuff right after this one. Let's see what that right side main beam. It felt like it's a pretty good main beam. We're going to find out. This is the first setting I had to do under my patio, so we're going to see how this one works out too. Oh yeah, not bad at all. We're going to stretch it out. 21 and 4/8. 21 and 4/8 for the right side main beam. All right, let's move to the P1 on the right hand side. First point. 4. Let me get where I can see. I had to stand up, y'all. I'm short legged. 4 and 5/8. 4 and 5/8. Yeah, I got me a 6x6 down here. I'm standing on because once we got the skin and everything was high except me. So I had to get up here somehow. Second point, right hand side. Oh, there it is. 8 and 0/8. 8 and 0/8. Like I said before, when you usually get a heavily palmated rack, the tine length usually isn't very long. This one is. That one right there is 8. Let's see, yeah, 8 and 0/8 as well for the two. It's just over 7/8, so I can call it 8 and 0/8. Now let's see what this 4 works out to be. Man, this deer is the, hold on. 4 and 7/8. There it is. 4 and 7/8 for the 4. And let me get this irregular point right here. 3 and 4/8. Hold on, let me make sure we get back down on my mark. Yeah, 3 and 5/8. It's just over 4/8. Hold on, let me make sure. Let me get it back on that mark. Get it right there. Yeah, it's 3 4/8. I was wrong. It's 3 and 4/8. 3 and 4/8 for the irregular one on the right hand side. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, now let's start getting the measurements that everybody wants to know about. Let's see what these circumference measurements come up to. Now, when you're taking a circumference measurement, guys, and you have irregular inches, irregular points, pretty close to where you're going to take your mark, you got to be careful. You don't want that irregular point to inhibit or to throw off that circumference measurement. And this one isn't. Ooh, starting out pretty good. 6 and 0/8 for the right side C1. 6 and 0/8. Let's see what the 2 is. That's probably the smallest one. No, this will be the smallest one right here. And it's right on top of 5 inches. Let's see. I got 4 and 7/8. 4, oh, what's that one? What's that? 4 and 6/8. I got 4 and 6/8 for the 2. All right. Let's see what this one comes up to be. I might have to help coach you around there. 6 and 4/8 for the C3. 6 and 4/8. Let's see what the last one comes up. Let's see if it'll be 6 and 4/8, y'all. I think it will. Right at it. 6 and 4/8 as well. 6 and 4/8. That's pretty strong. You got 3 of the 4 circumference measurements on this deer over 6 inches on the right hand side alone. Well, guys, I believe we got the right hand side. Let's flip it over. Let's go to that left hand side. Guys, I got to talk about Carl Wayne. Got started on the left side of the rack without even talking about it. So let's get on the left hand side of the rack real quick. We're going to take our main beam measurements. And if y'all ask me, what is Carl Wayne? Go check out TikTok. Type in Carl Wayne. You'll come across my cat. People love my cat on the TikTok. He is a superstar, but he's actually more dog than he is cat. Let's see what this one here comes up to. It looks like it'll be very close to what the other one was. Maybe just a scotch bit shorter. I don't know. Ain't but one way to find out, and we're going to do it with a tape measure. Let's see. This will be the left side main beam. All right, left side main beam. 20 and 4/8. 20 and 4/8. It was just an inch shorter than the other side. So we're going to say 20 and 4/8. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the irregular points first, because this one, I'm going to have to go ahead and use my case, because this point right here is very, well, I won't have to use my cable, I don't believe. I think I can, yeah, because it's going to grow from that point right there. So I'm going to use my cable to measure this one, because it's got some twists and turns to this irregular point, and I'm going to show you here on the, like I always do. You want to follow the outside curvature of it. And it makes a little bit of a swing inward. Let's see, that might not have been the most sanitary thing I've ever done, but it'll be all right. There we go. And I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna measure this again, just so I feel good about it. I'm gonna lay this cable on there one more time, because we ain't scoring for size, we're scoring for accuracy, right, Hope?
That's right.
That's right. I'll feel good about that. Let's see what we got on this, what we're calling the irregular one on the left-hand side of this rack. I'm going to call that 6 5/8. 6 5/8 for the irregular one on the left-hand side. 6 5/8. Now let me measure. Let's see if I can get him to act right. Yeah, he is. Let's see what we can do. Hey, you know, these ears sometimes get in the way when you're trying to score deer. One year up at the Union Parish Buck Contest, there was a grandmother had taken towels, kitchen towels, wadded them up and shoved them behind the deer when she put it in the freezer, and it kept them ears off that rack. 3 5/8. 3 5/8. And the reason she done it, she had watched us on Facebook Live struggle with them before. She said, I didn't want Mr. Hicks to struggle with the ears being on the rack. And I was like, goodness, that was an outstanding idea. All right, so we've got 1, 2 irregular points on this side, 3 5/8, 6 5/8. And now we're going to move to the P1 on this side, 5 2/8. All right, let's go to the 2. P2 on this side, 9 2/8. Let's go to the 3. 8 0/8. If I follow, let me make sure I'm following that curvature right. Yeah, 8 0/8. And then the last one, 4 3/8. 4 3/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's see what these circumference measurements look like. Let me see where I'm going to have to go, so that I'm not impeded by an irregular point. It's going to be right down here at the very bottom of the rack. We'll have to come around the bottom. And his base here at this bottom is impressive. It's huge. 6 4/8 is the base. 6 4/8. It's just a half an inch larger than the other side. Let's see what we got when we do the C2 on the left-hand side. Left hand C2, 5 2/8. The 3, here we go. Now we're getting up in this palmation. The 3, 5 4/8. All right, and now let's see what this one here is. It's like going to be 6 0/8. 6 0/8. That's impressive, man. Now, let's talk about if there was a partial palmation. Some of you guys out there may have a deer that doesn't have a big old wide spot here. It kind of flattens out, but one spot is wide. Well, what you do there with a partial palmation, you count the point, like the circumference measure, you do the carry forward. You don't really take that circumference measurement because it's not indicative of what the rack is as a whole. That's just one spot. So let's just say this was partial palmated and then this one was flattened out and there wasn't any palmation on this side except for that little bit right there. What you would do is you would take this C2, which is on the left-hand side, 5 2/8, and you'd say 5 2/8 for that. Or I'm sorry, 5 4/8. And then you put 5 4/8 for that one also. So there's a little rule book knowledge for you. Let's get to the inside spread. Let's look at this inside spread. What do y'all think? What do you think this deer's going to have on the inside spread? I'm guessing 15 4/8. So let's see what it comes out to be. You go widest spot, directly across center of the beam. That's going to be it right there. 15 5/8. Not too bad, G. Well, I ought to be good at it. I've scored plenty. Sometimes I'm way off. 15 5/8 inch inside spread. All right, guys, there you go. You've seen it, man. There you have it. You've seen the main beams. You've seen the tine length, and you've seen the measurements that everybody's been wondering about. How big around are the circumference measurements? Well, you've seen them. Inside spread. What do you think? What do you think the score of those 4 that I showed you earlier? Which one of those 4 is going to be this rack right here? Put it in the comments. Tell of the tape coming up. All right, guys, we got the tail of the tape, and it is a good one. Let me tell you, let's start off on the right-hand side. The right-hand side of this rack's got one irregular point. That's this one right here, measured out at 3 4/8. The main beam is 21 4/8. The longest tines, well, both these dudes right here are 8 0/8. Now, the thing everybody wants to know, what's the circumference measurements? Well, the base on the right-hand side is 6 0/8. Then it's 4 6/8. Then it's 6 4/8 and 6 4/8. That's a reoccurring theme on this rack right here. Big mass measurements. The total inches on the right-hand side is 74 2/8. Now, let's flip over and let's do the left-hand side of the rack. Left-hand side of the rack has 2 irregular points. We got 2 of them down here at the base, 6 5/8 and 3 5/8. That's 10 2/8 inches worth of irregularity. Okay, 10 2/8 of inches worth of irregularity on this side. When you start adding up the points, you got a 20 4/8 inch main beam, 9 2/8 inches. That's this dude right here is going to be the longest point. Then we get down here to the circumference measurements again. 6 4/8, 5 2/8, 5 4/8, and then 6 0/8. Huge mass measurements on this side of the rack. This side of the rack measured out at 80 7/8. So when you take that 80 7/8 and add it to that 74 2/8, you get 155 1/8 without the inside spread. Then you put in that 15 5/8 inch inside spread, you get 170 6/8 as the total score for this beautiful big deer out of East Carroll Parish. Now, what's the question everybody wants to know? How many of these inches were mass measurements? 47 inches worth of mass on this deer right here. You ain't gonna beat that. It's gonna be, that would probably be, if I'm gonna go and say, that'll probably be the most mass measurements on Louisiana deer this year. I'm gonna go on out and say it. So, there you go, folks. Beautiful deer. My name is Greg Hicks. This is Antlers and Hicks. And as always, I'm gonna encourage you guys to live your life past 20 yards. We'll see y'all next time.